Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's number one underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Yo, Apollo.
What's up, man?
Did you see that shit?
What shit?
Conor McGregor said he threw his name out there to fight Frankie Edgar at 222.
That's a mistake.
What's a mistake? Did you think he's lying?
No, I don't think he's lying. I think Conor's the craziest person in the history of the world.
Why?
Conor just does crazy shit. Like,
Indeed.
I feel like Conor is that one person that he doesn't surprise me anymore. Like, he feels he can legit beat everybody. You know, everybody's like, he picks a safe fight. I don't think he does. I think he thinks he can legit beat everybody. He just picks money. Like,
I think most fighters think they could beat everybody, right? I think you need to.
In this
as a
day
fighter.
and age, no, because with the whole ranking system and people picking,
Yeah.
I don't think Conor picks opponents. I think he picks money.
Yes and no.
I think
he's an opportunist. I think he saw an opportunity and he went for it. But
with Frankie Edgar, though, that's a mistake, man.
I'm a big Frankie fan.
Frankie's the one person that, like, one left shot ain't gonna do it. Like, there's guys out there that
remember the Gray Manor fights?
yeah,
man?
there's guys out there that I look at and I go, you know, if he just touches him with a left shot, it's over. Like, I can say that about Tony Ferguson. Like, if he touches Tony Ferguson, there's a chance Tony Ferguson's going out. If he touches, you know, Khabib, there's a chance Khabib's going out. But Frankie Edgar is not the guy that, oh, if I just touch him, it's fine. No, that's not the motherfucker you can do that with.
I'm not a big Conor McGregor fan. You know, I don't make any bones about it. I've said it numerous times. But I read his full Instagram post that he put about this. And
Yeah.
I feel what he's saying, because he said he just wanted to step in on short notice and fight and didn't have to do all the bullshit that went along with it. And I could respect that, because he doesn't really necessarily like all that shit. This is what I think. I think that Floyd Mayweather fight, I think that all that publicity, I think it did take a lot out of him.
It took away probably from a lot from his training. Like, a huge amount from his fucking training. I don't know anybody who would have been able to train properly and fucking do everything he was supposed to do for that fight. And then
He had very long to train in the first place.
yeah,
for it,
and he said that for the Nate Diaz fight. He was like, I'm not doing this shit for that. Like, he's a natural shit talker, but I don't know if he's a natural, like, famous person.
No, it definitely is, man. Mark Henry, Frankie Edgar's coach, one of Frankie Edgar's coaches.
One of the best.
One of the very best. He actually responded and he said, called it a dog shit post, basically, is what he's doing.
Mark Henry's a very smart guy.
I think he's one of the most underrated guys.
He's
great.
Such a great coach.
Fantastic.
Just a row of killers. But, man, Mark Henry, this is what I gotta say. I gotta be 100% honest.
76%, please.
If your dude gets knocked out by another dude, don't talk shit about him. Because Eddie Alvarez is Mark Henry's guy, and Eddie Alvarez got fucking punked out.
Yeah, but it's a different guy. So
It's a different. I don't. You trained him. If I'm a coach, and my dude gets punked out, I'm going to honestly sit there and not say shit about the dude who punked him out. I'm not going to call him a dog shit post. I'm not going to talk shit. I'm not going to call him out. I'm going to go, that dude's a good fighter, and if he wants to fight against my guy, I think this guy will be ready. That's it. You don't need to talk shit. Like,
I don't think he was necessarily talking shit. I think he was just kind of responding.
Yeah.
He was responding to, because McGregor was the one that really was talking shit there.
It didn't seem like McGregor was talking shit about Frankie. It seemed like he was talking shit about the UFC.
Yeah, he definitely was, because he the last thing he said in his tweet was, "I'm here to fight, and it's on them."
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I think he respects Frankie. He's even said that before.
How could you not, man? He's a savage.
He's a fucking savage. So
Kelvin Gastelum is too. Kelvin Gastelum and Jacare are going to go at it at UFC 224.
You told me about this, man. This is really interesting because I don't know. Is it just me, or do I feel like they're trying to post up Gastelum as this middleweight killer? And I don't see it.
He's not a middleweight. I think Kelvin Gastelum is a great fighter.
I love him.
He's just not a middleweight. He's too small for these big guys.
They keep putting him in these fights that I don't understand.
Jacare is going to kill him. He's too big. He's too strong. He's the alligator. He's going to eat him up. And I'm a Gastelum guy, just not at 185.
It makes no sense. If I was the UFC, I'd be doing everything in my power to make sure that Gastelum gets back down to 170.
And that's in Rio, too.
Oh, that's a horrible fight for him, man. That's I don't know, man.
He relishes the moment, though. They announced a couple of more really good fights, too. Marlon Moraes and Jimmy Rivera. I'm so happy this is finally going to be done because there was all that shit talking that happened at the end of last year.
I think it's going to be a good fight.
For sure. Jimmy Rivera is a guy that I've talked to a few times. Well, of course, we're going to have him on before that fight. He's one of the very best in the world. I think, man, Marlon Moraes finally showed everybody in his last fight what he's capable of. Great fight. Very happy.
Didn't Jimmy Rivera put a whooping on Uriah?
Very much so. Very much so.
Man, dude, that's going to be very interesting because Jimmy Rivera, man, one of the very few dudes outside of a title shot to put a whooping on Uriah Faber. This is going to be interesting. I could see Jimmy Rivera make some huge noise. And
for sure.
Man, this is going to be a good fight. I'm excited.
And then Edson Barbosa, Kevin Lee is going to be in Atlantic City. Very excited for that fight.
I think it's really going to show where Kevin Lee really is.
Do you think his last fight did?
No. Man, all right, so here's my issue with Kevin Lee. He kind of just shot up into this spot.
Ferguson, took care of him.
Yeah, took care of him. But I think there's a lot of issues with that fight. He had staff. So
do you think he's going to beat Barbosa?
I don't know. I think it's going to because you didn't really get a chance to really see what Kevin Lee has because he kind of got shot up into this top 5, top 3 discussion somehow. Out of nowhere, and he really hadn't beaten anybody at that time, and then he goes against Tony Ferguson. So I think Edson Barbosa.
There were some guys in there that he beat. They were pretty tough,
but they're not. But he got shot up into this level that I don't think he was there yet, and that's why I'm excited to see him against Barbosa because hopefully no staff, no weight issues. And he's had a little bit of time to grow. He's even said that he learned a lot from Tony.
Yeah, definitely.
From that fight. I definitely want to see what he does because I think this is going to show us where Kevin Lee really is and where he's really going to be able to go. Yeah. Because it kind of seemed like a Stipe versus Junior fight when Stipe was really young and Junior was kind of in his prime. It was a bit of an outmatch, man.
If Kevin could use his wrestling and keep it there, get some ground and pound, I think he could ride out a win. But I don't think he'll have as dominant of a performance as Khabib did against him. But we'll see.
Khabib's a freak, man.
There's a lot of good fights coming up, man. So if you haven't figured out, you are listening to the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. I am Mike Strauss, a.k.a. Strauss21. And I'm here with Apollo Taj Mahal.
What's up, everybody?
Follow on all the social media, guys. We know that you guys do it because we do it. Everybody does it, right?
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, regardless of what it is. It's really simple. It's DYSTSP. Just put a little underscore in between there. Did you see that shit podcast? Look for a little orange smiley face guy with poop in his eyes. It's really easy. It's really simple. Give us a call, 708-669-4777. Let us know what we're doing good, bad. Let us know what we should change. Let us know what we should keep doing. Let us know something, anything.
No dick pics. I plead, no dick pic.
Only black ones.
You know what? Why not? And also visit us at didyousee-that-shit.com.
And give us an email at mike@didyousee-that-shit.
Oh, shit.
I thought you were going to say, can you see for some reason.
Honestly, man, you've been watching way too much shit.
Or smoking too much. Speaking of smoking, I want to take a minute here and let you know about the Smoking is Hot headphones and pro audio company in the world, Leaks Pro. Amazing little pro audio company, guys. Check them out, lyxpro.com.
They got all your recording needs, man.
Yeah, whether it's headphones,
mics,
cables,
soundproofing, man. They're pretty much everything.
No matter if you're studying like a home podcasting studio or you're a professional.
We were just in one with pretty much everything that was Leaks in there, man. It was awesome.
Leaks Pro has headphones that are so good. They make Apollo Taj Mahal, Chicago's #1 underground comedian, want to work out. So.
Honestly, dude, they stay on my head when I do sit-ups.
And that's saying something.
No, like normally headphones, like they get in your face and shit. Stay right on my head. I love it, man. These are probably some of the best headphones I've ever gotten.
Absolutely.
At a great rate, man.
For
great
sure.
Price.
For sure. Leakspro.com, guys. Check them out. lyxpro.com. So before we get into our UFC Fox 28 Orlando picks and breakdown, wanted to touch a little bit more about something we brought up on our last show. Bellator releasing 13 guys seemingly out of the blue, right?
I went off on them, man.
It was crazy, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Steve Cazzola, Mike Rhodes, Francis Carmont, Georgie Karkanyan, Fernando Gonzalez. There's so many of these guys that, I don't know, you would think they would have had room to keep them all. I don't know what
They keep
Viacom's
giving
doing.
too much money to old MMA fighters. That's the issue right
Yeah,
now.
and then they're talking Tito Chuck. Do you have any interest? I mean, we didn't plan on talking about this, but do you have any interest in a Tito Chuck fight? Because this is gaining some steam.
Tito Chuck, get out of here, man. As much as I love Chuck Liddell, as much as I can't stand Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell got knocked out several times. I don't want to see that again. And Tito Ortiz looks like an old man slinking across the cage. I'm done with these old guys. I'm sorry. There's a new generation. Keep training Cyborg Tito, and Chuck keep being fucking Chuck, man.
I don't have much interest in that fight either, but, I was talking to Bellator fighter Chris Honeycutt a couple of days ago, and I mentioned towards the end of our conversation about Bellator releasing those guys, and he hadn't even heard the news yet, so he was pretty taken back by it, needless to say, right? I mean, his
I
employer
gotta hear this.
Here's the interview. I want to welcome Chris Honeycutt. He's a middleweight fighter in Bellator right now. He has a record of 10-2, and we're going to find out what Chris has got going on in 2018. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Just training. Had an opportunity to take a little bit of a break and shoot down to Long Beach this past weekend, so that was fun.
Business or pleasure?
Well, I mean, I worked out a little bit, but it was mainly just pleasure. Me and my girlfriend got to, go check out the St. Mary's ship or Queen Mary and all that. I'm sorry, it's Queen Mary, not St. Mary.
It's so crazy, man. It's such a small world, and it's so weird how things work because my 12-year-old daughter, she, for the last 3 days, Chris, she has been talking about the Queen Mary and how she wants to go. She, we're in Chicago here, but she's really into that right now. And here you are. You mentioned that. What are the chances of that? That's crazy, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, until you go and, you actually learn a little bit about the history of it and, and you see it firsthand, it's amazing that, something like that can be built. I mean, the engine room was just extravagant. I just couldn't imagine, the complexity and, the raw size of it. It was absolutely huge. It was like 10 rooms just for one motor.
Yeah, some of the things that people were able to do and just construct and build, like, Egypt is another thing that comes to mind, just mind-blowing. Like, I don't know, how do they do it? I don't even know where to begin, But, yeah, man, what's going on? Has Bellator, have they came at you with any fights or anything like that?
I've been asking. I think I'm going to be on the borderline of annoying at the moment.
Well,
I've been asking you. After my last fight, it was a pretty disappointing loss. I disagree with the outcome, obviously, but even since that moment, it's just like, well, how long do I have to wait until I can get back in the cage? Or as far as the fact that I lost, you're kind of suspended for X amount of days, and I was told that wasn't too big of a deal because I only got hit 3 or 4 times, so the doctor would have no problem, signing me off to fight kind of real quick afterwards. But pretty much since then, since 5 minutes after the fight, I've been trying to figure out how fast I can get back in the cage, and I still haven't heard anything yet. But I'm getting the we'll let you know in a couple of days here of the word. So hopefully, that comes to fruition, and I can get into another fight camp here shortly.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I thought you looked really good in your last outing, man. Lovato, he's a tough dude. No shame in that. You guys had a really interesting fight. There's no shame in going 15 rounds with a guy who might be one of the 2 or 3 best jiu-jitsu guys in the entire world. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I think so much the part that kind of makes me aggravated is that they do those pre-talks with the commentators the day before the fight, and they kind of talk about, well, what's your game plan, this and that. And my game plan wasn't to really I got a couple takedowns, just I wanted the refs to see that I could take them down whenever I wanted. It's just once I took him down, I kind of floated around for I would say 4 or 5 seconds, and I could already see him, transitioning so fast from one thing to another. So I let it come back to the feet. But but I told the commentators, the goal is to get him against the cage and to make him work. And I went into the fight, ready for a dog fight. But he was so accepting of just being pinned against the cage, and he is 6'4", so it's just natural that his arm's going to go over my head, and I kind of anticipated that. I just didn't think that they would continuously give him the offensive advantage being with his back against the cage, I guess, for a submission attempt or whatever. The 3-time world champion, he never progressed his position out, not even for a moment. So that's the part where I pretty much get my frustration, is that I actually thought that I was clearly winning all 3 rounds just through the fact that I was the one, pushing the pace. I was dictating where the fight went, and he showed no ability to get off the cage. He it almost felt like an episode of the Twilight Zone when losing that fight, and not until watching the commentating, and I kind of get the idea of how he could be initiating the offense. But you would think that because he's a 3-time world champion, after 30, 40 seconds go by and he's not able to progress the situation, then it should start, falling back into my favor, considering that he's the one, with his back against the cage. Since the first day I've learned fighting, the rule of thumb is if you can't get off the cage, you're losing.
I mean, that is it, and if you're the aggressor, you should be the one winning the fight, generally speaking. That's one of the big problems with mixed martial arts, man, is that the rules are open to way too much subjectivity, and guys aren't going to see fights the same way. And we need to fix it. I don't know how. I just know we need to fix it, because you guys you guys work too hard.
Yeah, I mean, it is my fault in the end, because I probably didn't have the greatest camp going into it. This winter, I guess, for the nation, it's been kind of filled with the flu and and sickness or whatever. And so I was on a couple antibiotics throughout the camp, and but that's that. I went into the fight, ready for the dog fight, ready to work really, really hard. And he kind of put me out of my game by being so accepting of being pushed against the cage. And I was kind of like, all right, well, I got a good view of the clock right here. I can see it run down. He's not really trying to get off. So I'll just, hang out here for 15, 20 seconds until he tries to start the fight off the cage. And then, he'll move off the cage and we'll do some dirty boxing and then go back to the neutral. I know he was a little more active on the hands and kicks, but none of them were landing. They were kind of just, going open over my head, or they were coming short. So they're happening just in front of me. I mean, I guess my volume really wasn't that high, but he only landed 3 or 4 punches. I probably only landed, 3 or 4 myself. But I felt like I did get the takedowns. He got 1 takedown, but within 4 seconds, I was, back up on my feet. I transitioned him back into the cage, and then took him down and finished the round on top.
Yeah, you sure did, but you're only 29 years old. I think your best years are still ahead of you. I think that a fight like that with Lovato, I think you're going to grow from it, and I think it was needed. But what do you think?
Yeah, I honestly think that if I were to fight Lovato again, the fight wouldn't even go the distance. I feel like his game plan was so passive aggressive that I could just walk through him. I just, like I said, I went from, this is going to be a battle to, this is going to be now an easy win, because he's just letting me, it's almost like I was sparring somebody that was in camp, and I was like their 3rd fresh partner, and they were already exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could feel that he wasn't, I could feel that he was not necessarily was super tired, but I could tell that he was, kind of conserving, like he didn't want to push that pace. And I was accepting of that because I felt like I was in the dominant position the entire fight. I feel like I only backed up really a couple of seconds maybe in the second round. But, I think any time, well, I'm going to say not everyone, but I feel like most fighters, take a loss. There's, there's another spark added to the fire. There's a little more motivation to work hard for the next one and learn from it. And that that goes for myself. It's like now it's like I'll never let that happen again. I'll never be in a fight and then someone just kind of feel someone not really try as hard as you, so you just fight to their level. I look back now and just like, why was I even thinking that way? If he was doing that, why wouldn't I just come back out, throw a few punches, and then tie back up with him, because then I don't have to worry about him getting his back off the cage, and then do some dirty boxing in there versus just smothering him against the cage and just, I guess, assuming that the refs thought the guy with his back against the cage was losing. But Lovato's a great fighter. I mean, he's if not necessarily a great fighter, he's definitely a great jiu-jitsu artist. I mean, he's 3-time world champion. That's something to slouch about. I think that's a big reason why when he maybe did have his arm over it. Because, I don't know where else his arm could have gone. I mean, it wasn't like he was I don't think purposely to try to initiate a punch. It's like, I don't know where else a 6'4" person would put their arm when a 5'10" wrestler sticks his head in his armpit and drives him against the cage. Really the only other option was to just maybe put his hand straight up in the air, and that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that would look a little weird, huh?
Yeah, I'm in the perfect fight. If I was 6'2", I would probably use my head and try to pinch his arm in, but that's not practical when you go against someone that's so tall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think that you're going to bounce back, man. I can't wait for your next fight. And, with all these new guys coming to Bellator, there's so many exciting matchups, so many possibilities now. So I can't wait to see who Joe's got in mind for you, man, because I know that you're going to bounce back. I just want to see who is going to be the one that has to fight you.
Yeah. I would like to get another year, kind of like the 2016 where I had 4 fights. Lovato was my second fight last year, and I'd be lying if I was, I wasn't going into the fight thinking financial reasons. It's 2 fights a year is when you're 20, 29 years old, that's I'm kind of reaching like the beginning of my ultimate prime of fighting. It's like I want to be fighting 5 or 6 times a year. That's if it was up to me, I'd fight 6 times a year. But obviously there's other people that want fights too. So I would like to fight at least 3 or 4 times, continuously throughout my prime, and then have a successful career with a lot of fights. I think just 2 fights a year is not really putting me ahead. I'm pretty much in a way of fighting from paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. I feel you. I say all the time how criminally underpaid you guys are as athletes. It's not even funny. Did you happen to see just yesterday, man, Bellator let like 13 dudes go?
13 fighters?
Yeah, they let go of 13 guys, man.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. I didn't see them.
Yeah.
I'll go online and look it up.
Some of the bigger names, man, like Francis Carmont, Steve Cazzola. That one surprised the shit out of me. Fernando Gonzalez.
Oh, wow.
They cut.
Oh, yeah, those are
crazy.
Yeah, that's shocking. That surprises me.
Yeah, I was surprised with a couple of those names, man. But they got plans for you. I know they do, because I think when you look at the Bellator middleweight roster, you have one of the very best records in the entire division. So.
Yeah, no. By any means, I'm waiting. As soon as I get on the books, it's like I think I'm trying not to be in camp now because I'm still motivated. But it's like I'm kind of trying to wait so that I can get that phone call, just so I'm not if they say 8 weeks from now, I'm not in like a 15-week camp. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm only 2 weeks from fight shape, but I don't want to get in fight shape and stay there, because that's how you one, get hurt in practice, and 2, it's like sometimes when you're training that hard for extensive periods of time, you kind of get run down a little bit. So I'm trying to keep that itch going and just waiting for that phone call.
Well, I appreciate your time, man. I look forward to your next fight. Let me know. Let me know when they get it figured out, man. I'd love to have you back on, and I wish you all the best.
You're awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, man. Could you do me a quick favor? We kind of have a little tradition here. Could you say, this is Chris Honeycutt, and you're listening to the Did You See That Shit podcast?
This is Chris Honeycutt. Honeycutt, middleweight fighter at Bellator MMA, and Did You See That Shit podcast.
Thank you so much, Chris.
You too. Have a nice day.
Don't worry, bro. You're good.
He's definitely good, man. He's one of the better guys in that division, and it's going to be interesting, man, to see now because, as I said, the Bellator middleweight division is very interesting right now.
The middleweight division in Bellator is good. They just, I think...
The middleweight and 170. They're both really good.
Well, the middleweight division doesn't have as many names as the 170, but they're only a few, really good fights away from really making that division interesting to more than just really, really hardcore fans.
Mm-hmm.
That division's going to be very interesting very soon.
For sure. So, Paulo, something that a lot of people have been talking about lately, man, is fighters missing weight. That's been real common lately. And
we've talked about it so much here, man.
Yeah, we have. But some people now are asking the question, is it in the advantage of the person who makes the weight or misses the weight? What do you think about this?
Depends. It seriously depends. Did the guy even try to make weight, or did the guy really try to make weight and just his body stopped? Because if he didn't even try, then obviously it's in the guy who missed weight because he didn't even try. He didn't deplete his body the same way.
A fight can't happen unless it's within a certain amount.
Correct.
Anyway.
But there's guys
can't try to a point.
Yeah, there's guys like Gonzalez though. Like it didn't even look like he even tried to make weight, and he's kind of in that range where he could.
Mm-hmm. And then there's guys that look like we were just talking before we came on live talking about Tim Boetsch.
Yeah, just on death's door.
Right.
If Tim Boetsch missed weight, it's because his body shut down on him, man.
So, there definitely is a difference, man. You bring up a good point. Here's a little interesting stat. Since the UFC implemented the early weigh-ins in June of 2016, they've had 72 events since then, right?
Yeah.
And 42 matchups.
Yeah.
One of those fights was scrapped immediately because of weight issues, and 9 of them have been scrapped since then for it. So basically what that boils down to is 55% of the time, the fighter that misses weight wins. So they statistically have an advantage, man.
Wow.
In the fights that do happen.
This is why statistics are important to an extent. Mm-hmm. Now, do you think the morning weigh-in is actually good for the sport, or do you think they should have that night weigh-in, man?
I've talked to a lot of guys about this, man.
Yeah.
And it seems pretty split. Some guys like it, some guys don't. As a fan, I don't like it.
Really?
No, as a fan, I don't like it. As a journalist and someone who cares about the sport, I like it. As a fan, as a pure fan, I don't like it because I'm being selfish here. Because I used to really like the suspense of Friday nights.
Yeah.
Watching the live weigh-ins, wondering if, my fighters, these guys I really like, were going to make weight. Yeah. And you don't get that anymore.
I feel like they make weight more, though.
Well, you feel like it, but statistically they don't.
Really?
Well, I just told you that.
Yeah, you did.
So 55% of the time, they actually don't. It's messed up. You got to look into it. But the way they have it, it's tricky worded, and statistics can always be a little misleading. But they broke it down pretty good, and it's really misleading, and it's not what I thought it would be either. That's why I was wondering.
I just know when I was cutting weight, and this is way back in high school.
No one likes to cut weight, right?
No, but I loved later in the day weigh-ins because if I was a morning weigh-in, that mean I had to suffer for 2 days. If it was a night weigh-in, I had to suffer for 1 day.
That's the word you choose, suffer.
Dude,
it is, I know.
Like that 1 day, no water, no food. I run throughout the day and then I weigh in and I'm done. If it was a morning weigh-in, I had to suffer for 2 full days of hell, and I hated it. So there's the pros and cons to that shit.
Yeah, there definitely is, man.
And after that, by the way, I just said fuck it. I'm never starving myself again, and that's how I got to this.
Did you see last weekend, man? They showed Nate Diaz on the screen for like 8 seconds, and
with a blunt.
Well, not really. See, that's where people are incorrect. Some people don't know if it's called a blunt. Some people don't know if it's called a joint. I even heard Ariel Hawani wonder if it was an e-cigarette. Yeah.
Yo.
Insert cricket noises.
That motherfucker is smoking blunts.
Here it is, guys. It's a spliff. That is what it is called. That is what it is.
What's the difference between a joint, a blunt, and a spliff?
Okay, well, a blunt is rolled with a cigar leaf.
Okay.
A joint is rolled with cigarette paper.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, a joint is rolled with rolling cigarette paper.
Okay.
And a spliff is kind of, it's not a mixture of the two, but what it is it's like almost like a cone shaped paper that is specifically designed for marijuana cigarettes.
So it's like the most legalized version.
It's not legal.
Of paper.
It is not legal.
It's the specialized version of paper.
Depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's rolled a certain way, and it's got technique to it. The Rastafarian culture are the ones that famously brought spliffs along. It's definitely a pot smoking culture.
You know what, Nate? You're the real MVP, man.
But I saw people on Twitter posting that he lit a blunt. It's like, couldn't even light it. Like, what do you guys make? People made such a big deal. He just put it in his
mouth. I just thought it was funny. He knows how to steal an event.
Let me. But that's what I was wondering. Does he though? Because I just think he's being himself. One of the byproducts of him just being himself is that he's just so fucking awesome. He wasn't sitting there thinking like, if this camera hits me, I'm gonna pull this blunt out. He wasn't thinking that.
He just did it.
He just reacted because that's him.
Yeah.
And he's just so awesome that's him.
I feel like he's just real all the time, and I enjoy
100%,
it.
he's real.
I enjoy it. He's awesome. You're the real MVP, Nate.
So UFC Fox, Orlando, Stevens versus Emmett. What do you think? This is actually, I think it's a decent Fox card. A lot of people are kind of poo-pooing this, though. You think it's pretty good.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I was listening to Brendan Schaub. He was poo-pooing
A lot of guys are poo-pooing this,
man.
Man.
Some real hardcore people in this game are poo-pooing it. And I'm looking at them going like, yo, what? You just want names all the time? This is the problem with the ranking system, man.
Well, I even think this does have names, though. I mean, okay.
But it doesn't have like rank number 1, rank number 2. I don't care about that, man. This is a barn burner of an event.
I think it's real decent, man.
Oh yeah, dude.
I mean,
this sets up title fights
for sure
for the next 2 to 3 years, man.
Well, this sets up definitely there's title fight implications between Emmett and Stevens, and there's definitely implications between Tisha Torres and Andrade.
And honestly, if Max Payne Griffin wins this, I think I don't know if it catapults Mike Perry,
because he's coming off a loss to Ponzinibbio.
But Max Griffin, this puts Max Griffin in definitely a conversation for leveling up, man. And
yeah.
I think this will level him up in some competition.
Mm-hmm.
To really get his name out there.
Well, if he beats Mike Perry, that's big, because Mike Perry's got a big name, and it's in Mike Perry's hometown. Yeah, that would definitely be a big win. Well, let's get to our main card picks here. Stevens is ranked number 7, and Josh Emmett is ranked number 4. I like Josh Emmett.
Stevens.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Emmett's going to do it. He shut everybody up. He made weight, so it's not an issue.
No.
As did Jeremy Stevens, but little suspense there. Stevens actually took a little bit of time in the early weigh-ins, but everybody made weight on the main card. Man, I think Emmett's going to do it. I don't know if he's going to necessarily get the finish, but I don't know. I don't really like to pick.
I like them both, man. I like them both. But I
definitely like them both.
I think Stevens is a guy who has been in the game for so long, been in the UFC for so long.
Absolutely has.
But on top of that, is still growing.
Mm-hmm. Better than ever.
Yeah, he looks amazing. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen, man.
I just think I've said before, man, I think Emmett is the next Team Alpha Male champion, and I think he continues.
You might be right, man. You might.
And then number 2 ranked Jessica Andrade against number 5 ranked Tisha Torres. I like the tiny tornado. I like Tisha Torres, man.
I'm going with Andrade, man.
Wow.
I'm going with the little pit bull. She's
amazing.
It's the heart that she has, man. And
she's phenomenal.
When she fights, she just goes
the
ahead.
way she beat Gedalia?
Oh,
Come
on. And Torres is no joke. But
no, she looks better than ever.
But man, you're gonna have to take her heart. You're gonna have to take. Because even Joanna had to snatch her heart from her. Mm-hmm. That was the only way she won that fight.
That's going to be a great fight. That's why I don't know how people are poo-pooing this. It's a really solid card. I mean, even this fight, you sleep on this. OSP is the 5th ranked light heavyweight. He's going against the number 8 ranked guy, Alir Latifi. Even that's a sneaky little decent fight. I like Latifi.
I'm going OSP. I think OSP is...
we differ on every one so far.
Dude. So I think OSP... The thing with OSP is I think that he got a little bit of the rub, what Daniel Cormier calls the rub.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got a little bit of that from John Jones, because if you've seen his last couple fights, man,
He's not looked bad. Yeah,
he
definitely
he
improved.
looks more mature. He
Yeah.
looks more calm in there. Where before John Jones, he was a little jittery.
Yeah, I always thought OSP was a guy that garnered much more hype than he deserved, but he's kind of, I feel like he's caught up to that.
And also that Von Flue choke.
Yeah, that is impressive. But I think Latifi, I think he's going to figure out a way to get it done. He's so powerful. He's so compact. I feel like maybe OSP might be sleeping on him a little bit. Maybe OSP might be sleeping by the end of the fight. I don't know what I'm just saying. I'm not saying.
We'll see, man. I'm excited.
Yeah,
it's a good fight.
It's a really good fight. And when they were facing off for their weigh-ins today, it was so funny because the height difference, oh my God. It's OSP is 6'3.5", and TV's like 5'9". It was crazy.
This is going to be fun to watch.
And then Mike Perry against Max Payne Griffin. I'm going Mike Perry.
Mike Perry.
Oh, okay. So that's where we agree.
So the reason for Mike Perry for me is I'm a huge fan, and also you can't.
The reason I think dude's gonna win is I'm a huge fan.
No, I'm a huge fan, so I'm slightly biased. I am slightly biased, but I think he's going to win just because of the biggest thing. He's in his hometown, and he's coming off a loss. And I watched a lot of his interviews.
That's big that he's coming off a loss.
And I've watched a lot of his interviews, and it's big when fighters learn from their losses, because a lot of times you hear fighters, and a big example is Ronda Rousey. She learned nothing from her loss.
Yeah,
she learned nothing from it and did the same exact thing. Where Mike Perry,
he's gotta be a crybaby.
Yeah, well, the way he's talking, man, he's saying, he's like, you know what? I lost that fight. I had poor cardio. I was allowing him to take advantage of the fight. I got with a new coach for my cardio, and I'm like, okay, you took steps. So I kind of want to see where he goes from here. It's exciting.
Yeah, I wanted to go Max Griffin here. You know, we had him on the show, and I've spoke to Mike Perry before. I haven't been able to get him back on the show. Hopefully, there's an open invitation. Hopefully, love to have him back on. But I wanted to go Max Griffin, and I wish him the best of luck. And I would love nothing more to see his hand raised against Mike Perry. I hope it does, man. I hope it does. I just I'm gonna go. If you push comes to shove, I'm gonna go Mike Perry here.
I definitely think Mike Perry's face tattoos belongs on television.
And then heading up to prelims, Henan Barrow and Brian Kelleher.
Hold up. Henan Barrow
exactly
is the headliner on the prelims.
Right. Brian Kelleher is a guy who has looked impressive. He's had a really good UFC debut win, and then he kind of stumbled. I think Henan Barrow is too much for him right now. I still think Henan Barrow is one of the top, maybe 10 guys in the world. And I'm surprised he doesn't have a number by his name, but I think he gets the job done against Kelleher.
And the fact that Henan Barrow's at 145 now.
No, this is at 135 pounds.
Oh, he went back down?
All I know is this fight's at 135.
Ooh, man. How did he look in the weigh-ins? I didn't get to see him.
I didn't see him either.
Okay, I'm going to have to look at that. You know what? Just because I think Henan Barrow might have finally gotten over this whole mental thing he's been going on since TJ Dillashaw stole his soul, I'm going to go with Henan on this, man.
Wow, we agree there too. And then number 7, Sarah McMahon, is going against number 8, Marianne Renault.
I
was going to keep it simple and go McMahon. Yeah, she's fantastic.
There's no reasoning. It's just McMahon
She's
is a beast.
Fantastic wrestler. She's amazing. She's gritty. She's very tough. Yeah. Also,
not a lot of women can deal with that, man.
I still think she has a couple of good years left. Also of note on that card, Ben Saunders and Alan Jouban are fighting. That should be a pretty fun fight. And then on the Fight Pass prelims, friend of the show, former guest, Sam Alvey. He's fighting too.
Going with Sam. I don't care. I always go with Sam. Sam Alvey can be facing the greatest middleweight of all time. I'm going with Sam.
So, yeah, that is UFC Fox 28 in Orlando. Should be a pretty decent card. Going back to what we were talking about just a little bit ago, Apollo, about the weight issues. Regardless of who has the advantage, the weight issues, they need to figure out a way to do it. Time and time again, we've talked about it. I think the best thing to do is just go every 10 pounds, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75,
and
85,
95,
205, 225, 265, and then figure out maybe what California's doing. I like what they're doing. I don't know, but that's a start. Do away with the 170 belt, and then, take it from there. Guys are getting hurt. People have even died. Zach Cummings was supposed to fight Thiago Alves, and he actually was in the process of cutting weight, and he had an incident in the shower, and he like blacked out, and you know he could have been seriously hurt. The fight was off, and we had a chance to speak with him, and he's doing much better. And here's our conversation with Zach Cummings. I want to introduce Zach Cummings. He's a UFC welterweight, 21-5. He's had some bad luck as of late, but you can't keep a good man down, right, Zach?
Never, man, never. I'm keeping on kicking, keeping on, and just ready for the next one.
So speaking of the next one, has the UFC offered you anything, or is there anything in the works for you?
No, I'm just right now. It's just a waiting game. You know, they said I sent my scans in, everything, made sure I was clear by the doctors and stuff, so they know I'm clear. They said I was good. They said just stay ready, and I should hear something soon. Just that was a couple weeks ago, so I'm still kind of waiting right now.
Very cool. So everything's okay. I know that you had some kind of accident where you slipped in the shower and cracked your head, right?
Yeah, kind of. I was in the bathtub and was cutting weight. Did my initial cut, so it was just the first one, and then we drained the tub, and I was sitting on the side of it, and while they were trying to dry me off, I leaned back and I kind of fell backwards and stuff, but there was a handrail that was on the wall, and my head hit it and split me wide open and everything, and it knocked me out. So it was kind of hitting the back of the head, just kind of blacked out for a second and looked up, and so blood was everywhere, and it just wasn't good. So I still tried to cut weight and stuff, and you know they kind of, I had no idea how bad the back of my head was, but you know they were all telling me to chill out. So I was like, no, I'm good. I'll just make weight. It's like, you know, you can't hit me in the back of the head anyways. Like, no, it's a pretty big cut. And then Mick Maynard came in the hotel room and he's like, turn over, and I rolled over. He's like, yeah, bro, you ain't fighting. I'm like, well, okay, that's not fun.
Well, I know you'll be back in there, man. Sometimes just, bad luck, shitty things happen. I'm in Chicago, and I have a sneaking suspicion, man. You know, you're a Kansas City guy, Missouri guy. And I have a sneaking suspicion that you might end up on that UFC 225 card here in Chicago.
Right, I would love that. I fought in Chicago 2 years ago. I guess, so not last year, the year before.
Henan Barao and Dillashaw card, right?
Yeah. I fought on that card, so I loved it, man. I have family in Chicago, and I love it, man. It's the fans are awesome there. They're big sport fans, so it's really it was really fun to fight there before. I'd love to go back. I would like something before that, if I could. So I think there's something in Brooklyn, April 7th, and then Atlantic City, April 21st. So I would rather get on one of those. I think pretty much every card before that's is full. So I think we asked for one of those. I just don't know if I'll get it. But yeah, I'd be down to fight in Chicago for sure.
Well, you're a guy, man, that really is down to fight anywhere. I remember watching you and all the Grindhouse guys coming up way back on Access TV. Do you still hang out with like James Krause and all those guys, man?
James is my teammate, business partner, my best friends. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, we own gyms together. Now we train together all the time. We help coach with help coach each other, help coach others all the time. You know, we travel all the time. So yeah, I mean, I hang out with that whole group of people regularly, pretty much in Kansas City. So, even ones that still haven't fought in a while still normally come back and train every once in a while with us and hang out and stuff. So now we're still a big, close-knit family and team.
That's awesome, man. Did you guys know, like, when you guys were all coming up, did you guys know that you really had something special?
I don't know. I mean, I think we saw it in each other, but I don't know. Like, I never knew how good I would be. You know, I don't know. Like, I saw some big things in other people and stuff, and then just every time I went out and did something a little bit better and better, I was like, oh, this is cool. All right, I guess I'm better than this. I guess so like I'm starting to set higher goals and stuff and stuff for myself. But I think for the most part, we realized that we worked really well together, especially like me. Like whenever I moved to Kansas City, me and Cross started working, training together. I was, certain things I was a bit better at was kind of secondary to him, and things he was really, really good at was, good for like my secondary. So like we really started kind of playing off our styles and stuff, and just kind of really getting better and better. So it was one of those where I don't think either one of us was very happy with just kind of staying where, like we learned this years ago. Let's just run with this. We would get together, we would put our minds together, and figure out, where can we go from here? Where can we do this? And like always trying to evolve with the sport and trying to evolve with the technique and stuff. And I really think it's done a huge thing for our teams and for us, for the guys that we coach and everything. So I think. You have no idea what you're going to get with our guys. We don't just strike when we're on our feet. We don't just wrestle in the middle of wrestling. We don't just work jiu-jitsu on the ground. Like we put everything together, and I think we do a really good job of playing the middle ground in the middle game of between each art basically.
Yeah, you guys have definitely done a good thing down there, man. Now, Glory Academy in Kansas City, I see you all the time on Instagram posting all kinds of very cool pictures of you. It looks like in more of a coaching role nowadays. How's everything going with Glory? It looks like it's going really good.
I mean, yeah, Glory as a whole is doing awesome. We have the original gym that started down in Lee Summit. Basically, it was Grindhouse that we took over and rebranded and all that stuff. So that was always growing, and Kraus has done an amazing job down there. I think they just bought a building. They remodeled everything. So it's growing. It's doing great, man. The fight team down there is phenomenal. And then we were able to open up a second location, which is the one that I opened up here up north in North Kansas City. And then it's grown a long ways. We started off in inside like a fitness gym, and it was like a little cave area. I don't know. And then we outgrew it and moved to up on top of the strip mall and stuff, and we were in a good spot. And now we've been operating out of our new spot for about a month now, but next Saturday is going to be our grand opening. And so it's doubled in space. It's about 6,200 square foot. We got 3 mat areas. I'm really, really excited about this. So I've just been, man, we've just been getting crazy trying to get this spot together and everything. And it was happening in the middle of that fight camp. And I, had, one of my business partners did, help so much by not caring if I was here or not. He kind of, he would ask me questions. He knew what I wanted and stuff. And then he would really do whatever he could to get help and get that done. So while I was, out in Denver or Vegas training or whatever, they were sitting here, and we had some great members that would step up and help us get a lot of work done. So, I mean, it's hard playing, the coach role, the business owner role, the athlete role and stuff. So me and Kraus are both doing it. We're trying to juggle it as much as we can.
You guys are definitely both capable of doing it, I'm sure, man. I can't wait to see you back inside the octagon. Hopefully sooner rather than later, man. Hopefully you get on one of those East Coast cards, man. People don't realize, man. The upper tier of you guys might be super rich, but the most of you guys have to fucking fight to make money. So I hope you get in there sooner than later, man. Welterweight is one of those divisions that it's just there's so many guys, Oh
yeah, no, it's stacked. It's got a lot of talent for sure. It's just it's a weird place. There's some guys that has been in the UFC and in the sport so long. So, and even they take quite a bit of time off. Like Condit, he was gone for I don't know how long, and then but still was hanging around the rankings. But then came back and fought and stuff. So I mean, like it's hard. There's a lot of good guys in that weight class, and there's some guys outside the rankings that are also very, very tough and dangerous. So, and I feel like I'm one of those guys. So I don't know, man. It's exciting. I mean, I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay down at welterweight. I'll probably go back up to middleweight at some point, but I'm still good. I'm still able to make it there now and stuff. I just I want to see what I can do at welterweight, I guess, before I decide to go up. So I'm just not quite done with it yet.
Yeah, no, I hear you, brother. If you can make the weight, do it. I'm getting older in age now. I'm 37. I could just look at a cheeseburger and gain weight. I don't even need to fucking eat it ananymore. So I hear you. But man, I appreciate your time. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Man, just thanks for having me on, and hopefully I can get in there and make this right. I love showing up for the fans. I love competing and entertaining for the fans. So it kind of sucked I wasn't able to do that, especially in my home state of Missouri in St. Louis. So keep an eye out. I'll be in back soon. I'm good. I'm healthy, and I'm excited to go in and put on a good performance for everybody.
Well, I appreciated Zach. Could you do us a favor here? We kind of have a little tradition. Could you say, this is Zach Cummings, and you're listening to the Did You See That Shit podcast?
This is Zach Cummings, and you listen to the Did You See That Shit podcast.
I appreciate it, brother.
No problem.
Take care.
Bye.
So, you see, I mean, it could be very dangerous. He got
fight
lucky.
with a gash in your head, man.
No, he got lucky. He'll be back, but the weight issue is something that they need to figure out a way to really address it, man.
You know, man, we've talked about it way too many times, but I feel that the ONE FC, and you know, not way too many times. We're going to keep talking about it until they fix it, because I'm tired of losing awesome fights. Zach Cummings versus Thiago Alves, because of things like this. Mm-hmm. ONE FC, I think, is doing a great job with it right now. If you don't want to add a bunch of weight classes, then look at how ONE FC is doing it, and look how California is doing it, and do it that way. And you know what? Let's say they blow it all up. They just go, you know what? Every 10 pounds.
Which is what I think
Let's think about this. Think about this. One giant tournament.
For what?
Belts.
Oh, to figure out who gets them to start? Yeah, could be, maybe.
Just one giant tournament.
You know
Grand
what?
Prix, man.
I know how they could fix this whole weight deal.
How?